Hey everyone, Bob here. Welcome back. This week we're going to be making my rendition of a northern Italian pasta, roughly translated as mountain herb pasta. Not only does this dish use fresh herbs, but also hot and cold olive oil to bring out a ton of floral, fragrant notes. So let's jump into that cooking adventure. For this recipe, we're going to be using 7 grams of parsley, 3 grams of marjoram, 3 grams of thyme, 3 grams of oregano, 3 grams of rosemary, 3 grams of sage, 3 grams of mint, and 8 leaves of basil, about 7 grams. 8 ounces of pasta, half a tablespoon of pine nuts toasted, half a tablespoon of ricotta cheese, 2 tablespoons of olive oil divided into 1 tablespoon each, 1 clove of garlic, 1 bay leaf, half a teaspoon of salt plus more to taste, and black pepper to taste. To start, remove the leaves from their stems for the marjoram, sage, thyme, oregano, and rosemary. For the basil, mint, and parsley, remove the thick bases of their stems by twisting them off, but leave the remainder intact. Herbs can often be classified as either soft or hard, with the determining factor being whether or not they can survive winter. However, when it comes to cooking, the easiest way to tell is if you were to bite down on the stem, does it feel like you're chewing a twig? Hard herbs, which have a hard stem, like marjoram, are great at being added in at the beginning because they can sustain and survive long cooking times and still give off their flavor. Soft herbs are more delicate, so you want to add them in at the end. However, their stems taste just like their leaves, so you can incorporate them with your final dish. If you're toasting your own pine nuts, add them to a pan and heat over medium-low for 5 to 7 minutes. Next, bring a pot of water to a boil and steam the leaves above the liquid in a colander or sieve for another 5 to 7 minutes, making sure to not let the leaves touch the water. This will help soften and revitalize the herbs. Now add the leaves, pine nuts, and salt to a food processor and pulse for a few seconds until roughly chopped. Combine in a bowl with the ricotta and tablespoon of olive oil, mixing until well incorporated. Set aside for later. Next, bring a skillet to medium-low and add your other tablespoon of olive oil. Olive oil is like wine. Depending on the variety, the time of picking, the annual weather, the song that lulls them to sleep at night, the taste can be drastically different between different olive oils. And adding this to your cooking can impart these amazing flavors to your dish. But the moment you start heating olive oil up, the very mild flavors, the floral citrus notes, start to dull down. In a lot of Italian-based olive oil pastas, you'll see that you can get these flavors back in by adding in some cold olive oil at the end of your cooking process. Well, we do something similar in this dish by adding in the leaves and olive oil mixture that's unheated to help bring back that florality into our dish, even though we also have other olive oil that has been infused with all of these other herbal notes. We're gonna have a 1-2 punch of just flowers. Once your olive oil is shiny and moves around the pan easily, add the stem of your rosemary, marjoram, sage, thyme, and oregano, as well as the garlic, and cook for 15 to 20 minutes. While this is happening, prepare your pasta to 1 minute shy of al dente. Wondering whether or not to use dried versus fresh herbs in your cooking? Well, one simple rule of thumb is your cooking time. After about 15 minutes, fresh herbs will start extracting their oils from the leaves into whatever you're cooking them in. And after 45 minutes, most if not all of the oil is completely gone from the herb. And so at that point, you're basically just chewing a tasteless leaf like a cow. Moo. Fact is that after 45 minutes, it's probably best to use dried herbs, which because of their potency can survive the longer cooking process and actually break down to a point where you won't even notice them in the dish. By the way, did you know the best herbs for drying? Hard herbs. It's a fact. After letting your olive oil infuse for at least 15 minutes, and with 1 minute remaining on your pasta, remove the herbs from the oil and turn up the heat to medium-high, adding some fresh cracked black pepper. When your pasta is ready, move it over to the oil with a 1/4 cup of pasta water. let the pasta cook for at least a minute before turning off the heat and waiting 1 minute for it to cool. Once the pasta is cooled, pour in your cold olive oil and herb mixture, mix well, and serve. We've got our warmed oil, our cold olive oil, our fresh herbs. Let's give this a taste. This is a very light, refreshing dish that gives the floral notes that we were looking for from our olive oil and very heavy prominence to our herbs. They've not only been infused into the olive oil, but also stand up on their own. And what's great about a dish like this is you can play with the different kinds of herbs. Now that you know what to use inside your olive oil, how long to heat them, all of those give you options to make your own version of this dish. Leave a comment down below for what herbs you might use in your own version of this pasta. As always, please give us a like, subscribe, hit the bell, ring the button, do all the things. It really helps us out. Here is a starting channel. And as always, have fun. We'll catch you next time.